Today's video is a ticket to your creative haven. I've got some fantastic projects in store that promise to add a touch of handmade charm to your world. Whether you're a crafting veteran or just discovering the joys of DIY, this tutorial is tailored for you. So gather your crafting essentials, ignite your imagination, and let's embark on a journey of making something special together. Hi, my name is Katie, and welcome to Lady Red Crafting. Let's get started. So the Dollar Tree has upped their game on wood boxes, and this is one of their new wood boxes in their Crafter Square section, and I just love that it has more of a curved look on the top of the box. And I'm going to use this today with some wood snowman that I had left over from my Christmas stash. So once we removed our labels, I'm going to flip over my wood box, and using some wood glue, we're going to attach each snowman to a corner of the box. And once all of our pieces are attached, I set this aside to dry for about 1 hour. Now let's move our box onto a paintable surface, and I'm using some Waverly chalk paint in the color Sandstone. And I'm just going to give a nice coat of paint around the whole entire box. And then when I flip this box over, I'm only going to paint the inside ledges of the box and leaving that square in the center without any paint. Now, once all of that paint has completely dried, I grab my Waverly chalk paint in the color Plaster, and we're going to paint the inside square with the plaster colored paint. Now for this next step, I'm going to flip our box over, and I'm using my straight edge, and I'm going to find out what this square inside that box measures out to be. That square inside the box is 5 by 5, and I found this beautiful napkin at Home Goods, and I'm just going to iron out some of the creases in the napkin by placing a piece of parchment paper over the top and using my heat press. Next, let's go ahead and flip the napkin over, and we'll grab our straight edge again. And I'm just going to draw out a square in a 5 by 5 pattern in the center of the napkin. And once we have our square drawn out, grab a pair of scissors and cut out your square. And once your napkin is cut out, go ahead and remove the back 2 layers of the napkin. Now let's go ahead and make sure that that napkin fits in the square before we do anything else. And once we've determined that it does fit, I'm going to grab Mod Podge, and I'm using the matte Mod Podge for this. And we're just going to do a nice coat of Mod Podge over the top of the napkin. And I can be a little bit messy when I'm painting my Mod Podge on, so I ended up painting some of the Mod Podge just in a nice thin layer almost to the top of the rim. Now once our Mod Podge has completely dried, I grab my mineral colored Waverly chalk paint, and I'm using a round brush, and I'm just going to do a dry brush and add a little bit of dimension to this little tray. And I'm just doing this on the outside layers of this tray. Once that has completely dried, I'm going to grab my Waverly chalk paint in the color Plaster, and I'm going to do the same thing. And that is it. Our little tray is ready to display. I love how this turns out. Let me know what you think in the comments below. This craft is starting out with a piece of wood from the Crafter Square section at the Dollar Tree, and I found these love stickers as well from the Dollar Tree. We're going to take this piece of wood, and I'm putting it on a paintable surface, and using our plaster colored paint by Waverly and a round brush, I'm going to dry brush over the top of this piece of wood. So while we have a quick moment, I want to tell you all about this wonderful playlist I'm a part of, What Would You Make? Hosted by Connie's Wood Shops and DIYs, Brenda from Rustic and Lace DIY, and guest host The Grace Life DIY Home. This playlist is linked in my description box below, as well as a link to these wonderful hosts. Please check them out and give them some love. Thank you! And now that we've finished painting our board, let's set that aside to dry. Let's grab those love stickers. I placed the stickers on a paintable surface, and I'm taking my plaster colored paint, and I'm just going to paint over the top of the stickers. With the pink on the stickers, it did take me 2 coats of the plaster colored paint to completely coat. that the paint has dried, we're going to grab our Waverly chalk paint in the color ink, and I'm just going to do a nice little dry brush over the top of the dots on the stickers. And to blend everything in, I did end up using some more of my plaster color paint. So while our paint is drying, let's go ahead and make a beautiful bow. I'm using this plaid ribbon that I did get at the fabric store, and I'm just going to fold it into the shape of a bow. And holding the bow in the center, I'm using a piece of pipe cleaner, and I'm just going to go ahead and wrap that pipe cleaner around the center of this bow, and this will hold everything in place. Once we're satisfied with the shape of our bow, I'm using some scissors and just trimming the tails, and I like to dovetail my bows, but you can also do a diagonal cut if that is what you prefer. Now, I want to cover up that pipe cleaner, so I'm going to grab another little piece of ribbon, and I'm going to cut a piece, and I probably cut this piece a little bit too big. You might be able to get away with like an inch, inch and a half, but I think I cut a piece about 2.5 inches. And I'm just going to hot glue that around the center of the bow to cover up the pipe cleaner. And if you did use extra ribbon, you can just cut any of that excess off. With our completed bow, let's put everything together. I grabbed my love stickers and we're going to place them on our board. I found that these stickers really adhered well to the board, so I did not use any extra glue, but depending on the type of stickers you're using, you may need to add a little bit of hot glue or super glue. Next, we're going to hot glue that bow right to the top of our board. Now this perfect little board is ready to display. I just love how it turned out. Let me know what 4-letter word you would use to display on a board. So for this craft, we're going to use a canvas from the Dollar Tree, a piece of fabric that you love, and a coffee cutout from Hobby Lobby. For our first step is using this canvas, we're going to remove the canvas piece on it and only use that wood frame. Once you have your wood frame, I'm taking a piece of cardboard and I'm going to measure the backing of this wood frame, and we're going to cut accordingly. Once we have our piece cut, I'm going to set that aside for a moment, and we're going to take our wood pieces and put them on a paintable surface. I have a feeling painting this frame might be a little bit messy, so I'm actually going to use some gloves for this and make sure I don't get paint all over myself. And I'm using Waverly chalk paint in the color ink, and we're just going to cover the frame completely with this chalk paint. And now that we have the frame painted completely, I'm going to take the same paint in the color ink, and I'm going to use that to paint the word coffee. So let's set that aside to dry and go back to our piece of cardboard. I'm taking the piece of cardboard that we cut earlier, and I'm going to cut a piece of fabric that's about 1 inch bigger around each side of it. Next, we're just going to fold that 1 inch piece over the top of the piece of cardboard using some hot glue to attach. And I'm just folding this like I was wrapping a present and pulling everything tight. Then we're going to flip this piece of cardboard over so we can see the fabric side. Next, we'll place the frame on top of the piece of cardboard and flip it over. And using our staple gun, we're going to just staple that piece of cardboard into the frame. And for the staple size that I'm using 1/4 inch. If you don't have a staple gun, that's fine. You can also use hot glue to glue this into place. Now let's flip our sign over, and we're going to go ahead and attach the coffee word into the center of this sign. To do this, I'm just going to use some hot glue. Since I'm going to be giving this as a gift, I wanted to make sure I covered the back of my sign, so I'm just going to take some hot glue and some felt, and I'm just going to cover up the back side of this sign. Now this coffee sign is ready to display or give as a gift. Let me know if you're a coffee drinker in the comments below. So for this craft, we're starting with a decorative box that I got at the Dollar Tree, some floral foam, and some flowers that I got at Walmart. Now let's grab the floral foam and cut a 1/4 inch rectangle off of this piece of foam. And I'm going to repeat this step twice so that I have 2 rectangle pieces. Now I'm going to take these pieces of floral foam and I'm going to insert them inside of my box. It's not a perfect fit, but it's well enough. As long as there's less than 1/4 inch around the edges, it'll work just fine. And to attach this foam in, I'm going to use some hot glue. So I found these beautiful bunch of flowers at Walmart, and I'm going to go ahead and remove 9 flowers from this bunch to put inside of my box. If you have a bigger box, you may need more than that. So with this box, it had some cute little decorative pieces on it, and I wanted those to still show. So I put those on the left and the right side of this box because I'm going to be standing this box up, and so I wanted them to still be present. Next, I'm taking my flowers and I'm just inserting them into the floral foam. And depending on your stems and your foam, you may or may not need hot glue. Now, once all your pieces are inserted in the foam, I grab some Spanish moss and I'm going to take this and I'm going to just pull this out of the container and try to make some long strips with it. And what I'd like to do is just place this around the outside perimeter of the flowers. Once you're satisfied with the amount of Spanish moss, I take some scissors and I give a quick little haircut to those pieces just to make sure there's no stragglers. And that is all you have to do. It's just that simple. This is a perfect little piece for a desk or to put on a tiered tray. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. And until next time, please remember, craft more, stress less.